live. So hopefully everyone is on a good spirit today. So for introduction, my name is Jessica and I'm from Universitas Indonesia and I'll be your chair judge for today. Along with me, I have two panelists and two trainees. You can introduce yourself as well.
Okay, hello, I'm David from Jenderal Soedirman University.
Hello, I'm Yuka from Syekh Kuala University.
Hey everyone, I'm Delia from Universitas Negeri Semarang.
Hello everyone, I'm Muhammad Ahimza from the Polytechnic Sriwijaya.
All right, so I will be timing. I will clap at 1 minute, 6 minutes, and 7 minutes to indicate your time is up. Other than that, please maintain decorum. Please be respectful to everyone in the room. So yeah, without any further ado, we call upon the Prime Minister from Opening Government to start the speech.
Check one, check two. All right. Okay. I'm sorry. Can I get timekeeper please here? Because I cannot see the time as well. I mean, yes, yes, of course. All right. So, first of all, I would like to disclaimer. So, oh, sorry. Should I?
I will give mic in case POI.
Oh, yeah. Argument. It's not represent my own opinion. So I will start my speech. 3, 2, 1. So when talking about political compatibility, it's talking about when the situation while the politics is become a tool to all of the people to gaining same purpose and same similar dream and able to make it that properly. And I think like a compatibility, it's talking about tools while, for example, like several people are very diverse and they have similar have same in the community, or maybe like parents, they can be able to politics to be the way to getting their own dreams, to getting the same of purpose like that. So why we should prioritizing of this political compatibility? Because the government, it's absolutely strategically going to prioritize, mean it is really important to make sure is the relationship is more accessible, and for the any others are immediately able uh, to create decision making, and of course like to out from the default less divorcing, less classes and like that. So why we would to significant prioritizing, it's talking about the mechanization of how government would be able to prioritize political compatibility relation significantly. So in today I would like to explain two things. The first one, why prioritizing political compatibility is, and why this house would prioritizing political compatibility in relation it will gain full. And second, why when we are not prioritizing, it is directly harm in our side. So first, it's talking about political compatibility. It's we can assess is the relation is sustainable or not. So that's why political compatibility is access, because when they cannot able, when they can able to have same decision or goal, that would be less of classes. Why? Because their compatibility means like they are able to more mature to assess kind of that they can to do, like assessing if the decision is right, it's correct, and gainful for them all, right, like that. And they can do collaboration, for example. And of course, like talking about political compatibility, and of course a government, it's access to make them all, to make sure them all of the people around or around that country, that state, to more more mature to assess something decision like that. So second, it's we're talking about like why significantly, I mean, like the government, it's directly create that situation to all of these people, and eventually bring situation that regarding of love have same decision, less of classes. And the impact, it's really impactful, because of for people can enhance the relationship between others. For example, like parents will decrease of divorces, because the situation is significantly make people try to keep make same decision, try to keep themselves to have similar decision. And of course, like for example, like parents will divorce, for example, like that. It is you can make the state will be of decrease the of the fatherless, for example, like that. That's why like the significantly, it's really important, because of course it is can decrease the divorcing like that. So third, it's because most of us like I mean, like the person, the human, it's have a selfishness, ego person. So while government force us to directly support the motion, sorry, decline, support the motion, that would be abolish classes, divorces. I mean, like less divorces and less classes. And of course, like it is really good. And why we are not prioritizing, it is make us, a lot of people will try to do not have any like line, do not have any like in regulation to keep the decision. It's still good to keep they have similar decision like that. And of course, it is really wonderful, because of course people who are living in that country can more welfare, because of course they have similar decision, that rather than we try to do not to prioritizing it. And but that's why proud to be OG. Thank you.
Thank you for the speech. Now we call upon the first speaker from opening opposition. Also, a reminder to use your microphone for
Check, check. I will begin my speech in 3, 2, and 1. Notice on how opening government stance is very unclear. We as the opening opposition would like to clarify you several of things. We think that what you need to understand about political view is that when people have a different political view, is that it comes from a different background. Like for example, if you live throughout your life in US, for example, most likely your view are about liberal, about like prioritizing individual freedom and whatsoever. But then under like, or you're like me who live in 20 years in Indonesia, most likely you're like prioritizing on like conservative, on like trying to protect cultural ideologies, for example, and whatnot, right? So understand that these kind of political view that wanted to be championed under opening government cannot actually stand, simply due to the fact that people are generally internalize this as their, as their identity. And therefore, you as an individual who want to achieve a more sustainable relationship cannot just prioritize, like, try to prioritize your own political view as opposed to like the relationship. two contributions under opening opposition. First, why do we think that this affects the relationship in a harmful way? And secondly, why do we think that under government side of the house, you even created this more unnecessary conflict in the relationship, which is going to be harmful for individuals, right? But then, what do we define relationship in this debate, right? But understand that if we want to talk about relationship, especially has already been stated in the motion, is that you have a deep connection within them, right? That is to say, if this relationship talking about like, the family that you have already spent time with, for example, or maybe like you as an individual, like adult relationship, for example, or maybe just your best friend, you're most likely to have already a deep connection and also like already having a understanding within each other. But we say that in terms of like political compatibility, as what I already stated to you before, is that the political views are very, very internalized to you, right? You already believed it throughout your life, and therefore, like, yeah, it is going to be bad in the end. But note on how opening government wants to enter this debate, right? They stated that, sure, they want sustainability in the relationship itself, right? But do notice on how under governments at the house, you're most likely to quote unquote force their political view. Why is this the case, right? Do understand that political views are like your identity as individuals. You are like genuinely breathe and also like live within your political view. If you as an individual who believe in the rights of individual freedom and also like supporting LGBTQ, for example, you're most likely trying to protect these individuals. But in reality, you need to understand that these individuals, other individuals who are not in this kind of political view, does not understand you throughout your political view, because like simply they don't have the same background as you, right? But yeah, first, then, why do we think that, how this affect the relationship in general, right? Do understand that people have differences all the time, right? But at the same time, under government side of the house, it is there will be some sort of normalization that you are only view one ideology as quote unquote true, right? Because like under government side of the house, do understand that when you try to prioritize political compatibility in relationship, most likely when you like seek individuals for your partner, for example, you want to have a sustainable relationship, and you think like, I want to have a sustainable relationship, and therefore I need to seek someone who have the same ideology as me, who has the same like ideology, political, for example, and whatnot, right? But then the internalization or like the normalization of this kind of political view is significantly harmful. Why is this the case? Because like exactly going to spend more time with them, you're going to spend more time with your family, believing that you do not have to support like LGBTQ rights, for example, because you live in a conservative area, is just like harmful for like other individuals who want to enter to your life, for example. Because like if you as an individual would most likely to meet other great people who want to be in your relationship, for example, and whatnot, right? And therefore, we think that if you want to be a more greater person or like a more deeply understanding people in general, you have to, not like prioritizing these political compatibility in the relationship itself. Because like the next one is that understand that you have to spend more time with these individuals who have the same view. And why is this like going likely to internalize this as as an individual or like as a development, right? Do understand that people are most likely to internalize this because like the repetition of the same conversation, right? Because exactly the political view that you have are like internalized in you as an individual or like as an identity for you. Like for example, you see things in social media all the time due to the fact that the algorithm actually like setting this to like making sure that you believe that this ideology is actually true, which is going to be harmful under government side of the house. Because exactly when you want to seek like relationship, for example, you're going to prioritize like, oh, we need to have the same ideological view because like you want to sustain the relationship, which is going to be bad and also harmful for the understanding and also like the identity for this individual at the end of the day, right? But what is our impact then? I think comparatively under government side of the house, you genuinely have a more deeper understanding with other people within like the different political view, right? For example, like, you know, in the current status quo, people that are like liberal are most likely like having this sort of prejudice for the conservative people, like saying like, oh, you're not progressive enough because like you don't support like freedom of choices, freedom of individual, for example. But we say that under our side of the house, you generally have a more deeper understanding with the other people who have a different political view, and therefore the relationship and also like the individuals itself able to develop themselves not only within the relationship but also like the overall individual and also like understanding within a different kind of political view. With all of those reasons, oppose.
Thank you for the speech. Now we call upon the second speaker from opening government.
Okay, so I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Opening opposition, starting with something that they want to make all the individual, they want to save all of the individual decision, and they think like to keep individual decision, it will be more beneficial because they think if when the government it started to keep individual decision, there is no more classes. But I think like they need to answer if it is not making classes or not like that. So I think like some rebuttal that I want to give to the OO say about they're talking about to protect individual is necessary important, and that is they try to defend it, right? So like imagine some friends try to make something like maybe event for example, and people want to make some decision, one decision, and because they have a different political view, it make them will classes for example, because they think if their political view is look better than another, rather than when we are unite all of their political view based on the reason of the political view itself. I mean like if is the political is good, is reasonable, I mean like it's real for them all, and I think like it's more beneficial. That's why they have to propose, have to support that political view like that, and that's why we want to the principle that we want to explain for you in this forum. So second, I would like to explain extend what my first speaker said before. So we will expand all of the political view, prioritizing a political view to make them all more mature. So the point is, while people explain the reason of their political view itself, rather than we keep them all of to have a contra political view, so they will still think if the another political view are bad, and it will make great discrimination. And I think like that is need to more explained by the opposition later, because of course like talking about discrimination, and I think like when political have a similar political view based on the reasonable things, it's make people who can for example like LGBTQ, if they think it's reasonable in their era and in their certain era, it's certainly making people like okay, in our environment LGBT it is good enough, but not but yeah, of course they have the same similar decision to say if the LGBT it's it's good in their side, in their area, for example, like that, because have a reasonable have a reasonable things like that. So to develop themselves, we would like to like try to create a regulation to make them are feeling if the political view it's not only like depends on the people, but it's talking about the purpose of their certain life career. So I think like that is the main case that that I want to like to support. So let again then we want to make all of people in this area in this status quo to make them all to more things. If political view, it is very important, and I think like when they can do something like maybe discussion, when they can literally more mature to prove something, it is really very cool because very more beneficial, and because it directly create them all to um, yeah, that's of course.
If I have a minority belief that is far from the what majority believes in terms of political beliefs, what happens to me?
Okay. What's happened to all of the minor person, minor people to majority people? At least if they are minor, minor people, they can, they can think if, they can see, you know what? For example, yeah. For example, when you are believe about God, for example, like that, and you'll be minor in that area in that country, so you can, you can unite, you can unite yourself for to the people who are believing God too, right? So I think that is the main cases that we want to do, because of course when in the one area like 50%, sorry, I mean like 60% the people are there are like believing God, and in the other in the other case like sorry in the other hand, people 50% are unbelievable God. Like it is make people are maybe more class, right? Because of course they cannot have similar decision to their area, for example, regulation to more represent themselves. That's why we want to support like to significantly to make political compatibility in the relationship, and it is increase the relationship between others when we put down other people, like for example believe in God in one area, and the other hand people with atheists in another area. And I think like it's more beneficial, because of course people people in the similar area have similar decision, can able to immediately notice what kind of things that it's more impactful and beneficial for them all, rather than when we start to like to contra political view in the one area, and we're making classes maybe fight, for example, or maybe civil war, for example, like that. It has happened like in the US when in Abraham Lincoln era, for example, like that. So I think that this the main point why we should support this motion. So talking about significantly, it's not only for the several person. I mean, like, for the minor person, for example, but all of the person. So if you're major, if you're minor, you have to know it. Notice if you have to try to tell the reason about your political view. So that is the main point, because when you try to explain the reason of your political view, people will can assess it, and people will can asking it. And I think it will not only change for example the minor the minor majority of people, but of course it can change the majority of people. So it can combine, like I mean, the combine of the decision of themselves, like that. That's why we want to try to keep support the significantly prioritizing political compatibility and relationship. Proud to be OG. Thank you.
Thank you for the speech. Now we welcome the second speaker from opening opposition.
Am I audible? Okay, perfect. I will start my speech in the next sentence. It is such a shame that when there's a potential relationship that can flourish, was denied due to the fact that you have different ideological political beliefs. This is, for me, such a shame, and we oppose this proposal. OG lacks mechanization. What is significantly prioritizing? They only say that prioritizing as is without actually saying what kind of prioritizing. Is it normalizing? Is it making a policy? Unclear. But since they haven't made this clear, we're just gonna take this and reframe this debate as basically normalizing it. And what is compatibility? Compatibility also was not explained by OG, so I'm gonna explain what is compatibility. Compatibility in a relationship within the context of this motion basically means that you and your partner or your friend or yada yada basically have the same ideology or political beliefs. Hence, it's compatible because you share the same goal as OG has said, but wasn't really clearly explained on OG. And what kind of relationships are we actually talking about? Because it's kind of confusing when you do not specify whether this is a platonic or a romantic relationship. So now I'm going to specify this to one, romantic relationship, and why is it the case? Romantic relationship is more about this debate due to the fact that romantic relationship is more impactful to an individual's life rather than a platonic relationship like your friends and whatnot. A romantic relationship is someone that you're going to spend the whole time with, that you're going to live under one roof, possibly if you get married, and so on and so forth. Well, that's why romantic relationship should be the debate of what we're talking about in this round. Now, the closing benches cannot come into this debate and talk about this also includes platonic relationships, because I already explained to you why romantic relationship is the main topic of this debate, due to the fact that romantic relationship is the most impactful thing that's going to happen to an individual's life. Now then, why is this a terrible proposal? I'm gonna bring you three arguments. First, about minority beliefs will suffer. Why is this the case? Threefold then. Minority will not have much options. Like, for example, if I believe in XYZ, while the majority does not believe in XYZ, what happens to me? This was not clearly answered by the opening government. When I have the minority beliefs, ideological political beliefs, it's hard for me to basically find a partner because I have to search for it, like finding a treasure in the desert, probably, due to the fact that I'm a minority within these beliefs. So if I believe within XYZ, I also have to find a partner that also believes in XYZ. And this is really harming for the minority who believes in what the majority does not believe in. So the minority in government side was not able to be saved in their world. In our world, we will save the minority due to the fact that our stance is simple. We want true love, and I will explain later on why true love is the solve to this round of debate. Regarding of this minority beliefs will suffer, to respond to opening government, sure, people will disagree on our side due to the fact that people with different ideological belief will have a romantic relationship, for example. But disagreement is not all that bad, and I will justify this. Even if it gets too much, I'm also going to reframe this debate as in, we're not going to talk about children's or teens relationship. We're also going to talk about adults relationship. Why adults relationship? Because they are the most important one. They're the ones that matter. They're the ones that has the commitment to do it. They are the ones that has the more potential future than just what children's and teenagers love, that probably in the status quo only lasts like 6 months to a year before they break up and find another one. But adults' relationship, they are really important, and they have to be sustained, because adults are basically the building factor for later on, that they're gonna reproduce more for the popularity for humanity, basically. Now then, sure, people disagree, but like what I was about to explain, disagreement is not all that bad due to the fact that disagreements, even though it happens to an adult, it's okay for adults to disagree due to the fact that disagreements will make you think. Disagreements will make you justify the stance of your belief, and disagreements will make you grow. Basically, like if everything in your world, if everything in your family, your relationship, your school, your teacher, and yada yada only agrees with you, you're basically not growing. Your ideas are not being challenged. Your everything is not being denied or challenged. So you don't really have this responsibility to actually justify your stance, to actually believe in what you believe in, because you already are within this assumption that due to the fact that everyone agrees with me, so I'm the right one. But that's not really the case. The reality in the society later on, once you step into the adult society, you will face a lot of disagreements, and you will have to learn how to fight that. And basically, OG or the government normalizing not having disagreements is really, really bad for the growth of humanity in itself. And why is true love why is true love is actually our stance, and why is it really why is it gonna be the tipping point on why open opposition wins? Why true love? Because true love is what OG is trying to actually champion, and we're gonna take it. Basically, sustainable, compromising, and healthy. Because the moment that you have actually true love, the moment that you actually love someone not because their political beliefs, but because you love the person, you will actually achieve a sustainable relationship. Not because due to the fact that there's a very logical inconsistency in OG's argument that the moment that they stated that when you have the same goal, you basically have you basically will have sustainable relationship. This is really false due to the fact that political beliefs will eventually change the moment that the politics or the political figure does something that is considered a mistake. The moment that they change their political beliefs, this will eventually ruin the relationship, because they will have a disagreement like, hey, I suddenly do not follow Trump anymore, or hey, I suddenly do not follow Obama anymore due to the fact that I don't like him anymore. So I don't think we're compatible enough, or so they're basically, the relationship that relies on government side is relying on their political beliefs, and this is really bad, because at least in our side, when you actually love someone, you will be okay in disagreement. You will try to find the midway to actually sustain your relationship with your partner. So sustainability and compromise happens in our side, and I think that's why opening opposition will win this debate. Thank you.
Thank you for the speech. Now to open the case from closing, we open the first speaker from closing government.
That's okay. I think I sense some contradiction between what OO has stated. OO stated that people have rooted connection towards their political beliefs, right? And therefore, because these political beliefs are something that is initiated from them, like from growing up, their parents' political beliefs and what is promoted in their household, basically, right? But then they stated that by not having this motion, it can make people better understand each other more, right? And we believe that this is not true, because there isn't a likelihood that these people will interact with each other, knowing the political climate, knowing that the media is increasingly antagonizing against both sides of the benches of like the political, like left wing and right wing, right? And Therefore, there's no likelihood that these people are going to interact with each other anyway. And this is actually something that will actually happen. These discussions between both sides will actually happen in our side of the house because it is something that is significantly prioritized by the government then. Secondly, then, they also stated that disagreements are okay in a close-knit relationship. They also promoted that these debate should be about close-knit relationships, romantic relationships, right? But okay, in the off chance that in romantic relationship that they actually discuss and like disagree with each other, then that person is not really a good matchup for the other, right? Because then if the political belief is not the same, then it creates that these people are then not in the same ideals or do not necessarily have the same goals, because that is what political belief is, right? A political belief is a reflection of what you want to be and what your aspirations are in the future and how that political belief can further your aspirations. And therefore, if you disagree with someone that is very close to you, and then that person does not really promote what you want, then that person is in the first place not a really good person for you. And therefore, this is why discussion is important and why discussion will happen in our side of the house. But then some recharacterization then. Some OG has not really stated about what significant prioritized look like. This is how it actually looks like. It's about like doing political campaigns, campaigns, ads, and also about why it's better to match based on political beliefs, right? And it's basically better for the longevity of the relationship, and they will do these kind of mechanization about significantly prioritizing it, right? And secondly, then, our focus is more about it forces people to initiate discussions beforehand that wouldn't be discussed in the first place because of the political climate that antagonizes against each other, right? And this is why it's important to significantly prioritize this, because in the status quo, there's a growing polarization that's happening, right? Meaning that people are increasingly becoming left-wing and increasingly becoming right-wing. They are basically disconnected from one another, right? And therefore, knowing this, it's important to one, protect the marginalized groups that will be affected by these growing polarizations, such as women. And secondly, then it also initiate discussions. Okay. Okay, about protecting marginalized groups then. The urgency that I brought to you earlier prioritize how this can protect women. Like the increasing rise of men going more and more conservative and women going more and more liberal and left, and is then the prime reasoning of this, right? When women in the status quo unknowingly be with men who are raised in a patriarchal household because of the men's politics is not because politics is not actively discussed, it's not promoted to being discussed in the status quo. People are just unknowingly don't talk about it, and therefore they fall into this narrative that this person is not really political, and this person has the same ideas as me, even though they necessarily do not, right? And thus, when they're in too deep with the person, they get with their significant other or other types of relationship, and they start to display their political view against the other person, right? And because it's not aligned, to display their political view against another person, and therefore it damages the other person in the end, right? And but when these happens, when these discussions happen because of the significantly prioritized part, it will offset that taboo that political things should not be discussed in relationship, right? And people will actually talk about it. Thus, this prevents people from unknowingly getting with someone who doesn't align with you or with what you think, right? And then this becomes a stronger understanding, but more importantly, it also protects women from going into a trap where their ideals of becoming, like, for example, a working woman is then blocked by men who believe that they should just do home labor instead of prioritizing utilizing their university degree or other examples like that, right? And secondly, then about the discussion part, this discussion will happen because when someone is wanting to pursue someone in a relationship, they will then have to, whether they like it or not, they have to discuss these political things, right? And when that discussion happens, there's a mutual discussion that is happening, and they will see each other's sides more as comparatively to ours in the status quo, where people don't actually interact with each other whatsoever, and therefore we actually promote better understanding as opposed to just letting the status quo go, because at the end of the day people want to be in a relationship, right? Whether that be like platonic or romantic, and so these discussions will happen in outside of the house. Yes.
I think there is not understanding each other. There is love with requirement.
I think okay. There's no problem with political beliefs with political beliefs being like a requirement for relationships, because as I've stated before, these political beliefs are a reflection of yourself of and what you want to be in at the end of the day, right? And when you have a significant other that doesn't really align with that, then that relation will not really be a productive one, and therefore either one of the people in that relation will not be happy with one another, as opposed to our side of the house, where these political discussions are discussed, and when they have the same view, they will be with each other, and they at the end of the day have the same goals, right? And secondly, then I stated before that about better understanding. The better understanding can manifest itself in like promoting each other's goals, and for example, they can support each other more in our side of the house, as compared to when that political belief when the significant other doesn't want to support their partner because of differing beliefs, and the person believes that that partner should not pursue something in their life, right? And this is why we are proud to propose. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech. Now we call upon the first speaker from closing opposition.
Panel, in this debate, especially in the terms of relationship, we need to talk about how attraction is actually can impulse people to keep their relationship in the end of the day. You need to understand about how a political view is actually a tools to make to sustain the longevity of the relationship, or is it going too harmful to the relationship itself, right? All comes to this debate with saying, oh yeah, we need deep connection, but all only explain about how the impact would look like, but they never explain how this prioritization is actually affecting the stages of the attachment for like lust, attraction, and bonds, which is can be problematic if you believe in the wrong step of face this attachment stages, right? Okay. How the compatibility really need to look like? Attraction is actually come from testosterone and estrogen hormone from the human itself. So yeah, you can attracted to this person, and OG, CG, or even opening opposition never explain how actually political value can affect this hormone to impulse the human to stay in their relationship in the end of the day, right? People will look for their fulfillment in the very first step. That this is what closing opposition will explain to you. Okay, political value or political view doesn't fully represent for who you are. Why? Because character doesn't represent feelings in the end of the day. There is so many things that happens in our brain or even heart to have an ideal partner, right? We think that to maintain the relationship, you really need to look the character of the person that you want to have relationship with, or even you really need to see their habit. Is it going to be compatible to you or not? We think that political value doesn't represent this at all. Why? Yeah, even if you closing government told to you about people who have different same political view mostly came from the people who have the same characteristic. But you need to realize we were shaped with the different society in the end of the day, different group or friendship or even the family tradition and etc. We think that to understand people is actually compatible in closing opposition. That I will explain more how political value is it is actually cannot represent the feelings in the end of the day. Political opening government comes to you, oh yeah, this can be more accessible to people to make their relationship to become more long lasting, but not panel. You only see them because they have the same political value as you. This is the only prioritization that you think the right thing to do in terms of relationship. But you need to understand the only thing that the demanded by the relationship is clarity, which is only exists under the closing opposition. Why? Because human is actually have different way to express love, right? We, for example, the love language. This is how the understanding and accessibility is actually only exists under the closing opposition. Okay, things that made the relation. When someone, you need to find someone in the end of the day who can talk or can act that and gives you clarity. And opening government never explain how actually political view can fulfill these clarity necessities of the people to make the relationship becoming long lasting. In closing opposition, we will choose the partner that will suit our personality. For example, the people who have the same love language with you, right? You can give a try to this person even if they have different political value in the end of the day. We think that character match can be fine when you can fulfill these three stages of attraction that I already tell to you about how you attracted with the first stage is less attraction, and that is why you have a tend to make a deep connection and bonds to this partner. This is how the long-term relationship should look like, and closing opposition is the only thing that can bring this issue. Closing when political view becoming the qualification to enter the relationship, we think that this is just limit the way for the next generation or all people to finally choose their ideal partner, and this is change the standard of the people, right? This is so toxic because the accessible is not it's not going to be happen. It's only happen in under our side. Why? Because like the different because we think that the different of decisions from the different political value also can keep the compatibility in the end of the day. In terms of relationship, you always want to learn about your partner because your hormone produce this willingness in the end of the day, right? There is not any friend that impulse your attraction. Somehow there are people exist who attracted to people who extremely different from them. So we think this is the accessibility is actually really need to work in status quo. The goals of relationship is actually when you can give the the comfortable situation to your partner. Like if you feel there is something your partner need to learn about understand politics, you can easily educate them, or even closing government comes to you about, oh yeah, the discussion will be good under their side. We think that the only thing that you need to looking is only validation, because you have the same perspective towards the politic itself, right? We think that the relationship is should be fix each other. You need to support each other to become better, and to become better is actually right to give your critics criticize to your partner in the end of the day. Because of that, vote for closing opposition.
Thank you for the speech. Now to close the case from government bench, we call upon the government whip.
Am I audible? Okay. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. So I would like to start off my speech by discussing the clashes that has happened in this debate, and I will start with the clash between CG and OO. Now, OO comes into this debate claiming that political views are merely determined by the individual's background, which means that it would be unfair to discriminate based on political alignments, because it's not something that you can control. Because, for example, you can control where you're born, what community that you were raised in, or the people that surrounds you, etc. But I think that O forgets that 1, political views are not absolute, and 2, they still reflect your beliefs as an individual, so it is completely justified to prioritize them in forming and maintaining relationships. Now, what do I mean by this? I will elaborate on first, political views are not absolute. Now, we will not deny that your upbringing and the people around you do influence your political views and what you believe in, but at the end of the day, you still have free will as an individual, as a human being, and you can choose what you believe in at the end of the day. If, for example, you have lived in a conservative community for your entire life, you still make a conscious decision as a human being and as an adult every day, whether to still follow that mindset or not. Especially considering that we're living in this day and age where information is very widely accessible. As long as you have a phone or you have access to the internet, you can find factual proof that either confirms or deny your beliefs at the end of the day. So no, political views are not absolute. It is something that you can definitely control, and something that you can change, something that is dynamic, something that you can always modify, as long as you're willing and as long as you are open-minded and you have the willingness to change what you have previously believed in. Secondly then, political views still reflect your belief as an individual. Now, what do I mean by this? Which political party that you align with and who you voted for in elections, whether it be regional or federal, your political or even your political opinions that you state in social media, etc., all reflect your personal views as an individual. Because the fact is, everything is political. The air that you breathe, the food that you eat, the language that you speak later, what you study in school, etc., are all influenced by politics. The fact that if I go back to Jakarta and I'm breathing dirty, polluted air, or the fact that we're speaking English right now, or that we have to learn Indonesian at school, are all determined by politics. It is not something that is just coincidental. It is not something that is just nature. It is all, the fact is, politics, everything in your life is shaped and determined by politics. Therefore, who you choose to be in the government directly correlates with what you believe in. Because when you're voting for a certain candidate in an election, you're saying that I'm okay with this person dictating the future of my life, my family, and my entire country. This is why it's later, don't badger. This is why it's completely justified to prioritize political alignments in relationships, because it is something that reflects your beliefs as an individual. When you're saying that I'm okay with this person dictating the future of everyone around me, it is directly correlated with what you believe in, right? Because if, for example, I'm in a talking stage with a man and I found out that he voted for a candidate that doesn't think that women should be able to work, that's something that is political, and it reflects his individual beliefs, right? This is why exactly it's justified to discriminate based on political beliefs, because I want to know whether or not this person that I might or might not have a relationship with is someone that I'm compatible with, and someone who believes that I should have free will as a woman, as a marginalized group, minority, etc., right? Because the fact is, political views are not just coincidental or something that your family have raised you to believe in. It is something that you as an individual choose to believe in every single day and choose to support every single day of your life, right? Which is why I don't think that it is as evil as opposition put it, that when you're discriminating based on political beliefs, you're basically saying that I don't want to be with you because you align with a certain political party, because it's still something that reflects your individual beliefs, and it is still something, if for example, I'm in a marginalized group, it still reflects how you think of me, how you perceive me as someone who your political party might villainize or demonize, right? Which is why we can win above. And now I'm going to the clash between. Okay, wait. POI first.
Exactly, because political stands are not absolute. What happens if you change your political beliefs within the relationship? Is it sustainable?
Okay, I think that, for example, if I choose to date someone who is more liberal and more open-minded, and they they change their beliefs to be someone who is more conservative or traditional, I can the fact is, with this kind of motion in place, I have the incentive and I have the encouragement to break off that relationship, and that's something that is not bad. That is not something that is as evil as opposition puts it. Because the fact is, I want to prioritize. I am encouraged to prioritize that political compatibility in relationships, right? So when I see that this person no longer believes in what I believe in, and no longer believes in what our future would look like as as a community or as a country, it is completely justified for me to break off that relationship, because it also reflects how they view me as an individual and how they view the groups that I belong in, right? So moving on to the clash between OO and CO. Now, CO states that attraction comes from biological hormones, therefore political views don't matter. And I don't think this is something that's not necessarily true, because almost everything in our life is caused by our social surroundings, as I've said before. And sure, there are biological determinism, or our biological aspects that control our life, but at the end of the day, it's still influenced massively by the people around you and the people that you surround yourself with. But even if CEO's point is true, we still need to protect our biological needs, including emotional ones, which is why it's still justified to, protect yourself against individuals who who might disagree with what you believe in, and that is why we are very proud to oppose. Thank you. Propose. Thank you.
Thank you. Now to close the case from opposition bench, we call upon the opposition whip.
Okay. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. We believe that this whole debate is about how you could give more better in relationships, right? But we believe that this whole debate they haven't actually explained to you on how how political view are very fragile and this could easily be changed throughout life. We like for example how you are a very ultra Republican, but suddenly you see Trump like making sudden economic changes there. For example, they are making your gasoline very expensive, for example, right? Or that kind of things, right? It could be very harmful because even if in the start they have the same beliefs, for example, right? When they start to change these things, this will be very harmful anyway because if they want to believe that they have that they are we are together because we are ultra Republican, right? For example, right? And suddenly your partner doesn't want to be Republican, and again, then you are doomed anyway in this relationship, right? This is very harmful if we are trying to go with the government case, right? We also believe that political compatibility will disregard every human traits possible, like for example, feelings, for example, or attraction, etc. Right? This will become very transactional under the government side, right? And then this is very harmful for individual like humans because we in the relationship we don't need these transactional things. We want things that are very beneficial to both sides, right? We don't want the transactional like you have to do this so that you have to be beneficial to me so that I want to have relationship with you, for example, right? We don't want that. And we want to stay in the status quo, like when this relationship should happen not naturally without any prioritization anyway, even if you have some political view anyway, right? We believe that doesn't mean when you have same political view, doesn't mean you are compatible. Also, we believe that this is not urgent anyway under the government side. Relationship and love could happen naturally anyways. There's no need to force these things, even if it's hard to find partner, like OG said, like for example on accessibility. At least you are not being forced into a relationship that could cause problems. Like for example, more likely you could get cheating or KDRT just because you have the same beliefs, but not in connections like attraction, for example, right? That my previous speaker have stated before. Even worse, when when we pull this, when you already have children, for example, right? You risk of having a broken home, which is very worse under the government side. And it is only, for example, you are only building your connection through this political value, right? Not with attractiveness in traits. We believe under our side, we at least minimize that harm. When two people understand and attracted to each other, we believe that even if not because of political values, they have stronger bonds because they share the same goal. They don't need political values to connect them, right? And they can cover for each other anyway. Moving on to my clashes. Two clashes that I will bring in this debate. Firstly, on the big clashes on longevity of relationship, right? What OG brings? OG brings on how they want accessibility for relationship. And we believe that this accessibility does not align with the main goal of this debate. What do you want in the relationship? We want more longevity. We don't need accessibility, but we are getting worse harm under the government side, right? In the relationship, we believe that it's better to not connect anyway, rather than suffering when you are forced to connect yourself just because of these political views at the end of the day, right? Secondly, OG also brings they want to abolish clash in family. We believe that this is not exclusive anyway, and they have also no process of analysis on how this would how they could abolish this clash anyway, right? Even if you can, we will take the bullet. We will better because every individual will understand, because under our side, we at least we are being understanding, because not because of you support a certain political view, but because, oh, I'm attracted to you on how, oh, you are doing the same interest as me, you are having the same hobby, for example, right, as me, right? This is more important rather than having the same political view that are under OG, right? Meaning that they cannot on government, you solve this by forcing people to agree just because of some political views, meaning that they cannot think more objectively, meaning that they are more forced, even if it's harming one of the individuals at the end of the day. OO comes in this debate in this clash how they want to they comes to debate with negative cases and disagree on how political compatibility is not something that we should support, for example, right? But we in this debate, but they have never explained to you how what is this political view looks like at the end of the day, right? People with different political values could get understanding, and more and specific longevity only talks about adult relationship, like what the OO have stated, right? We expand this by saying like, oh, longevity could also happen and on other forms and will become more sustainable on us, for example. In a friendship, for example, when you as simple as you are playing game, you're playing game, for example, right? Or having the same problem in your family, for example, right? That connection is enough to sustain anyway, and it is also important because friendship is not bonds to not to complicate things, and friendship sustainably is the prerequisite of having better romantic relationship anyway, right? By having friendship sustainability, we are at least being more knowledgeable on how to sustain a romantic connection, right? Lastly, on CG, they want to the likelihood of attraction, right? We already explained that outside how you connect, for example, in hobby and interest. Like this thing is more important than political view because you don't do household just saying, oh, you agree, you are rightist, I am also rightist, then we will apply conservatism, for example, right? No, we don't believe that. We want every relationship to be based on different perspective or different attraction, for example, right? Even if you are your friend, for example, your friend think that, oh, being gay is bad, and you think, oh, yeah, it's not that bad at all, I just don't care, right? We believe that this still bond could also still manageable anyway through having the same interest, playing the same game, or as simple as you for example like a certain Pokemon, for example, right? You like certain places, for example, or do things that you want to do together, right? These are not bound by political views and more sustainable because if it's not more fragile like political views. Even if they can do better in trade, they can still respect your view. Doesn't mean they will demonize you and just saying you care about. And the CG also talk about how this could affecting people in leftists and rightists. We believe that even if this happen, we will still more supporting people in gray area with the pro to oppose.
Thank you for the speech. So thanks everyone. That concludes our debate. So now the panel of educators will deliberate on the decision. Everyone can wait outside of the room and I'll call you once the decision is here so we can see the oral education. Thank you.